Hello and welcome to the international discussion on the Creative Society TV. Today, we're continuing to discuss important topics that were raised at the International Conference, Global Crisis, Time for the Truth, that took place on 4th of December, 2021. This large-scale event was created by thousands of volunteers from all over the world and simultaneously interpreted into 100 languages. Today, we will talk about multiple important topics which were brought up at the conference, including climate crisis, refugees, and why the creative societies are only solution and chance to overcome the global crisis we are faced with. And right now, I would like to introduce my co-host today, who is Natalia from Calgary, Canada. Natalia, welcome.
Greetings, everyone. Before I introduce our guest today, I would like to let our viewers know that preparations for the International Forum, Global Crisis, We Are People, We Want to Live, which will take place on May 7, 2022, are already at full speed. The forum will address a number of vital topics, such as increasing rates of climate disasters, as well as why the global media is silent about the scale of the threats, who is playing against mankind and on the side of the common enemy we have, the real cause of global climate change, and who and why is hiding the truth from people. We will see climatic disasters through the eyes of eyewitnesses. Also, the topic of refugees will be discussed, answering the questions, why does it affect everyone? We will look into escalating social violence, slavery, and human trafficking, and we will cover how creative society can help us to solve all of the above mentioned issues. So if you would like to be an informational partner, you can always contact us by writing a letter for using the email info@creativesociety.com. So it is my pleasure to be here today with our guests, and I would like to welcome our guest, who is Barbara Namubiru, a human rights defender from Uganda. So let's start our discussion. And the first question is, Barbara, could you please share what made you understand that consumer format of society is no longer working? And please tell us and our viewers why creative society is the only chance we have today.
Thank you so much, Natalia. I welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in, and please call everyone else to tune in. That is a very beautiful question you've just asked me, Natalia. I realized that the consumer format was no longer working when I realized people are killing each other more every day. There's too much pain going on in the world. There is no more love, care, and kindness. There's a lot of displacement of human beings globally. There's so many refugees. There's so many climate catastrophes. You've heard of the tsunamis, you've heard of the tornadoes, you've heard of the winds, I can name it all. So if really the consumer format was really working, I don't really think we would be having all these wars and everything, and many people dying recklessly. And that is how I came to believe and understand that the only way out of this tyranny and agony.
Seems Barbara is frozen for a second. I suggest that while she reconnects with the internet, we can watch a short video on climate crisis, which should give those not familiar with what is happening in the world today an idea of why we need to hurry up and build the creative society.
Today, scrolling through the news feed, we see how natural disasters are increasing around the world. But if we look around, it may seem to us that cataclysms occurring in other countries or on other continents do not concern us because they are so far away. However, the reality is just the opposite. Our planet has entered a phase of instability and anomalies. While one part of the planet is drowning, another one is dying from droughts. Drought is about to become the next pandemic, and there is no vaccine to cure it. Most of the world will be living with water stress in the next few years. Demand will outstrip supply during certain periods, said Mami Mitsutori, the UN Secretary General's Special Representative for Disaster Risk Reduction. Shortage of drinking water is not even a catastrophe, it is death. This year, 2021, marked the first water shortage in the Colorado River, which provides water to about 40 million people in the western United States and more than 10,000 square miles of farmland. The Colorado River feeds two major reservoirs, Lake Mead and Lake Powell. Its water level has dropped to its lowest level on record. This year alone, drought and water shortages have significantly changed the usual human life on almost all continents. The effects of drought are already directly affecting many people and are getting worse. Food shortages, a spike in commodity prices. Has this already affected you? Or are you still not seeing this? The dry summer of 2021 in Kazakhstan led to an overall decrease in yields and livestock deaths. In 2020, Kazakhstan exported about 8 million tons of grain to 40 countries, but the forecast of grain exports for 2021 has decreased by almost 30%, down to about 6 million tons. According to the president of Kazakhstan, the declining wheat harvest in several regions of Kazakhstan will jeopardize food security in the Central Asian region by 2030. This is a simple, practical example that the fight against climate change is our common cause. Shallowing of waterways in Argentina is already causing supply disruptions. Brazil is the largest exporter of soybeans, coffee, and sugar, and the second largest supplier of corn and iron ore. A drought in that country is exacerbating the crisis in the global supply chains for these commodities and raw materials. The familiar aromatic Brazilian coffee is becoming more expensive and has already become a scarce commodity. These are just a few examples amongst many. In the world, all supplies are links of one global chain. A breakdown in one of them poses a threat to the supply chain around the world. What awaits us? The permafrost melting threatens to have equally devastating consequences for millions of people living in the coldest regions of the planet. This problem will affect over 70% of the infrastructure in the polar cities of Russia, Canada, and the United States. And these processes can no longer be stopped regardless of future measures established by the Paris Agreements. According to the estimations made by scientists at the Russian Institute of the Earth's Cryosphere, the boundary of the permafrost zone has moved more than 30 kilometers to the north over the past 40 years. According to Dmitry Drozdov, director of the institute, this process is irreversible and it is impossible to stop it. Houses in permafrost land are installed exactly on 8-meter-long adfreeze piles. We have a thawing of up to 5 meters deep everywhere, so we are only 3 meters away from the critical point, said the director of the Environmental Education Center. Where are people supposed to go? After heavy rains and flooding of crops in the major vegetable province of Shandong, the cost of vegetables in the Chinese capital has risen sharply by almost 40% in just 1 month. In the opinion of China's popular microblog Weibo users, vegetables are now more expensive than the country's staple meat, pork. The sunny state of Texas appeared to be unprepared for the drastic changes in temperatures during the winter of 2021. In this typically warm southern state, the temperature dropped to minus 18 degrees Celsius. Due to high demand for indoor heating, the entire energy system failed, freezing in their own homes. Many people were forced to stay warm in their cars and cook food using candles.
Look at that water. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it at all. Look.
Because the pipes had burst from the frost, there were problems with the water supply, making people wait in line for hours to get drinking water.
My house has still water frozen, all the pipes are frozen, and I have 6 children to take care of.
The electricity crisis set in motion a chain of consequences that led to a humanitarian catastrophe. People were not prepared to face such abnormal conditions. There was no electricity for 3 days, no water for 3 days. I didn't have food for 60 hours, and I felt very bad. The residents of Texas could not have imagined that tomorrow they would be on the brink of survival.
Everything's flooded.
Today, climate anomalies are occurring all over the planet. Anyone can become trapped. That's what happened to the residents of the Chinese city of Zhengzhou in July 2021. As they stepped into the subway car, people had no idea what a nightmare this trip would turn out to be for them. And some of them would never come home to their loved ones again. Due to abnormal precipitation, a third of the annual rainfall fell within just 1 hour. Subway tunnels were flooded by the flash flood. Subway cars were blocked, and one of them ended up being submerged in water. I was very scared, but the most frightening thing was not the water, but the decreasing air supply in the car, said one of the subway passengers. Global climate change has already caused food shortages around the world, and the situation is worsening catastrophically. Will we have anything to eat and drink tomorrow? More than 1,140,000 people in Madagascar are desperately trying to survive the famine due to the drought.
We cut them like this, but this one can't be cut. It's as hard as a tree. Today we have absolutely nothing to eat except cactus leaves.
Hungry, homeless, and desperate people literally pounce on arriving humanitarian aid trucks that carry basic necessities and food. They snatch the bags from one another. Confrontations erupt, leading to fistfights. Even today, natural disasters are dramatically changing people's fates. A person finds himself alone with his grief. And the facts confirm this. Where should people caught in the epicenter of natural disasters go? After all, their losses from the raging disasters are incalculable. The consequences of climate change will not spare any of us. In the end, people may lose the most precious thing they have: life. Tomorrow, you may be faced with the question, how can I survive? Natural disasters take us off guard, and as a consumer society, we are failing to cope with that. And this is our reality. But we still have our only chance to survive, and that is to build the creative society. What kind of society we choose, such will be our future. And today, this choice depends on each and every one of us.
We are glad to have you, Barbara, back finally. And you can continue, of course, if we see the climate catastrophes we've just seen in the video, right? As a global, disasters intensify. Refugees from all over the world are forced actually to flee. And the question would be, like, what can we do as people to be prepared for this situation, which we saw even in the video? What do you think? What can we do to be ready?
Thank you so much, Natalia. Before we can even think of what we can do to be ready, it should be what can we do to prevent it? We need to first find out what causes refugees. It is the lack of value of human life. If we can eliminate the lack of value for human life, we will be able to eliminate the refugee status. If we can focus on the climate crisis and we fix it, because so many people are displaced because of drought, because of floods, because of so many climate catastrophes, that if we can prevent prior, we wouldn't be having people homeless. I believe that if we focus on the climate, and we focus on what we are supposed to do as humans, we can really prevent people from being homeless and displaced from one country to another if we put our attention to the climate. Simple things like do not cut trees, because trees, we all know that ancient, it has been there. It is an old saying that the trees will hold the winds. So if you're cutting down the forests, get ready for, for the earthquakes, for all those other things. Like back in my country, Africa, do not build in swamps, because those are the ones that help water go back to the lake. If you do that, you're blocking the water and you'll get floods. It is obvious. So I believe that if we can focus on climate really, and we listen to what nature is telling us, we can fix this. I believe so. There will be no droughts. We can fix this as consumerists. We just need to change the mentality and act before it's too late. The best time to act was yesterday. The only time left to act is today. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. And we know that you're very passionate about the topic of refugees and human trafficking, which is a very, very heartbreaking topic. And we did discuss it at the last conference on the 4th of December. And we'll again talk about it on May 7th at the Global Forum, Global Crisis, We Are People We Want to Live. And in your opinion, could you please share with us, why is it so important today to talk about this topic, to show the wholesome picture of refugees and what's happening worldwide? Could you please share with us why, in your opinion, it's important to talk about that?
Thank you so much, Olga. I would like to thank the Creative Society for bringing up the Global Crisis Forum, where such important global issues can be discussed. I will tell you first why I think it's very important to discuss human trafficking at the Global Crisis Conference in May 7th, 2020. First, what is human trafficking? I would describe it as a multi-billion-dollar criminal industry. It is illegal. We can all agree to that. And it is, I would describe it as stealing one's freedom for profit without their consent or awareness, through coerciveness, force, fraud, to compel a person into dubious acts against his or her will. When we look at the statistics, we see that over 24.9 million people around the globe are trafficked. Some are sex workers, some are into labor trafficking, some are into child trafficking. And apparently right now, me as a human rights defender, I have seen people who have been trafficked, even back home. They've been trafficked as laborers only to end up being used to take out their body organs. Just recently, last month, was it in January or something, one of my sisters, I would just say Esther because it was all over, she was taken in as a laborer, like a housemaid. And she left home thinking she's going to work as a housemaid, only to come back to her family when her kidney has been taken out. She had no idea. They took her for medical. She went and did all these medical checkups. Little did she know that they were taking her through all this process just to find the compatibility test. Imagine taking out someone's organ without their consent. This is a mother. This is someone who has people to look after. And you leave that person incapacitated. It has been a story that has been making news back in Uganda. Everyone can attest to this. So human trafficking is real. And now it has turned into organ trafficking. So traffickers see that it is very difficult to traffic organs. They end up trafficking the entire person. So I believe that everyone should really attend the May 7th Global Crisis Conference, where we can address such issues. Because if we do not address such issues like human trafficking, Tomorrow it could be you. Tomorrow it could be me. We say we are humans, we want to live. How can we want to live when people are still trafficking other people to take out their organs? Why can't we just do 3D organ printing and make this world better? Who is holding that information from society that people end up believing the only way to save your life is by killing the other one? So I really, really believe that we are all vulnerable. January 12th, we celebrated the International Human Trafficking Day, but nothing has changed. We cannot just celebrate it. Information has to go out there. People need to know that these things are happening. You and I can be our brother and sister's keeper if we decide to hold human life as, of the greatest value. Like the slogan goes, we are human, we want to live. The way we want to live, so are the other people we are trafficking. Thank you so much, Olga. That is my submission.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Barbara. And maybe you can also share with our viewers, why is it that the creative society is so important today? And why is it that only in creative society will we solve all the global crises that we see worldwide?
Creative society is very, very important because all the other means have failed. Creative society talks about eliminating inequality by making everyone being able and accountable for whatever happens in the globe. What are we trying to say? We are trying to say we can eliminate inequalities. Why put so much money into making weapons? Why not divert that money into humans? For example, take away the inequalities in education. When you look at the money spent in nuclears, in the weapons which are used to kill humans and devalue human life, we can use that money. As the creative society says, we want to create a society where there's equality. We're talking about equality in education, equality in health system, equality in information, which has been the leading confusion of the global catastrophes, because many people do not have the right information. Who is holding the right information from society? Like I just gave you an example of people still have an old mindset that you have to kill another person to get an organ. Yet someone out there knows you can do a 3D organ printing. It is very simple. So I believe through creative society, we will have the awareness. And I would like to call upon everyone to come on board. Everyone has a contribution to make in the creative society. It's not about education. It's not about religion. Everyone is accountable for humanity. And we should act like we really want to live. I cannot live on the planet for every other person to live. The only way out of this. And that dictating. You've seen this. It's a crime. You will see funds diverted because of inequalities. But if we have a creative society where everyone is accountable, for example, we say we need to build a bridge here. Everyone says, yes, we consent. We need information to move. Yes, everyone will consent. Let the right information come all the way to the last person on earth. When we talk about our creative society, actually, I envision it day and night, where I will see gender-based violence disappearing, because I'm a human rights activist, a woman rights activist. Millions and it's not even millions, it's billions. Billions of women out there are having what we call MHM, menstruation hygiene management. They cannot afford sanitary pads. Why not divert this money that we are diverting into killing each other with weapons and mass destruction? Why can't we divert it into that? Why can't we just balance? I believe that Earth can be better if we choose to make it better. And I believe we can still make it better if we join our hands through the creative society. I'm calling everyone on board religious leaders, cultural leaders, politicians, celebrities, human rights defenders. Please, let's make this world a better place. We found it great. Let's not ruin it. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Really wonderful words. I hope they will reach the hearts of the people who are listening to you. And you are absolutely right when you are saying that information is crucial and is very important. And I'd like to ask you, how do you think we can inform people as soon as possible about the creative society? Because we need to do that in a hurry since the situation became so crucial lately. So how can we inform people more and more, like to bring the message to them?
Thank you so much, Natalia. The fastest and easiest way right now to pass on information is to involve everyone. And when I talk about everyone, I'm talking about all media channels, social media, gazettes, a one-on-one word of mouth. I mean, God gave us a tongue so that we can speak. Let us not use our tongue to speak harm or hurt or pain. With our mouth to speak good, to speak the right information, to serve the world. I believe everyone can serve the world. I don't know why I always believe that everyone has it in them. Everyone was created with that X factor. Can we please find it in our hearts to make the world better for everyone? Tell the other person, you know. I got to know about Creative Society through social media, through Twitter, and I am just so happy that this information was out there. And through that, I can also tell my friends, I can tell the world. So do not let anyone tell you that, but we've spoken too much. When shall we start acting? Information is power. If you hold information and you don't pass it on to the right people, the little people who have the information, the few ones, will misuse the information. People have held information selfishly to themselves long enough, and it is time to break the barriers. Let's break the bias and pass on information to everyone. People should know it's wrong to cut trees. People should know what plastic is doing to society. People should know what is causing human trafficking. People should know what is causing havoc and hell in the world. Why is everyone fighting one another? If we have creative society and everyone feels equal, there will be no need for people to kill one another for supremacy. I believe so. It will end because you will feel like humanity and life is of the greatest value. You don't need all this power. All this power is nothing if you do not have life. So if we can go back to the simple basics, life is irreplaceable. You have it for free. You're given it for free. But if you don't hold it well, you will lose it. Value other people's lives the way you value yours. That is what Creative Society is telling us. And I am calling upon the world. Please open your hearts and listen. This could be our last and only chance to serve this world. Please listen. We can still serve.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you so much for being with us today. We understand that the topics of climate crisis and refugees are the most relevant in our society, and people are truly realizing that when the calamity comes to the house, when the cataclysms hit their home, the authorities, the state, the organizations are not there to help. And we see that only people unite to help each other. The real help comes from the ones near, our neighbors, volunteers that come from all over the world and do whatever they can to help the people that are in need. And when misfortune comes, we show our humanity. At that point, we all unite. And the question is, do we really have to wait until we are faced with the destruction? Because cataclysms already today take lives. We see huge losses of people's lives already. And every single life is not just a number. It's a person's life. There is a lot behind that life. People like you and me, with their dreams, their plans, their ideas, and in a blink of an eye, it's simply cut off. And why do we unite after the lives have been lost and the disaster occurred? We need to unite in advance. In the creative society, the highest value is human life. The creative society is a community of all people with united potential. As you were saying, the scientific, intellectual, and technological. And under such conditions, it will not be difficult to make a single rescue service, develop technologies that will predict where and when certain cataclysms will take place, and therefore warn people in advance in order to evacuate people, and therefore will be able to save lives. And again, as you were saying also, as Barbara was saying today, let's, for example, take 3D printing. Not only can we print houses, we can also print organs and therefore, again, save human lives. Because in the creative society, people are put first. And Barbara, we would like to thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you so much for sharing the word, spreading the information. Thank you for talking about the creative society, sharing it with your friends and everyone else you know, because today we understand that this is our only chance, this is our only opportunity to combat the climate change, to unite and to survive.
So what needs to be done, you might ask? We need to create the demand for creative society that is coming directly from people in every single country. How can we do this? By informing every person in every single country about creative society, then we can proceed to the second stage of implementation of creative society. The most important thing is to do it all together. Nowadays, millions of people from 180 countries support the idea of creative society, but there are billions more to reach. And we are running out of time. We are late. Disasters are killing people every day. Yes, we aim high to inform almost 8 billion people, and we set a common goal to unite and build creative society on the whole planet. But this is our not just dream, this is our vision of our future.
Yes, and Barbara, before we end the discussion, maybe there is something else you would like to share with the viewers, last words.
Thank you so much. I would like to first appreciate all of you for giving up your precious time for the good of humanity. That really, I mean, for a human rights defender, for a political activist, when you see people caring about other people, that is priceless. So I would like to encourage not just you, but all the viewers around the world. My closing remarks won't change from what I've said earlier. We might not be so lucky next time. Can we please take advantage of this opportunity we have to make the world a better place, not just for us, but for generations to come? Can we please all make the world a better place for everyone else? No one wants to be a refugee. When people just find themselves in those situations, no one was born to be like that. In the creative society, we will not be having displaced people. In the creative society, we will not be having inequalities, because we will all find human lives valuable. Let's stop being consumerists and be real humans, because consumerists consume recklessly. Humans have humanity. Let's go back to that stage where we used to see someone drowning and we would give them a hand to save them. The consumerists just take out their smartphones and capture the moment. Oh, I watched this person dying. I was the last one to see this person. We can still fix this. That is not human. Human life matters. We are all human and we want to live. And I'm welcoming everyone. I'm inviting everyone on May 7th, 2022. Please mark your calendars. This is going to be a phenomenal international conference where we are going to be addressing, forging the way forward, issues that can make the world a better place for you and me and the generations to come. I thank you all. Please, let's love one another. Let's value human life because there's nothing close to it. Every human being is nature's greatest miracle. Can we please make them feel like they're so? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Barbara, for being with us today. And you did such a great job inviting everyone already to the May 7th conference. But I would also like to end this discussion with a sincere invitation for everyone who's watching right now to an international forum, Global Crisis. We are people. We want to live, on May 7th, 2022 on the Creative Society platform. And the purpose of the forum is to truthfully and objectively inform humanity about the increasing danger of climate and environmental disasters, to reflect the real scale of the multiple crises of the consumer format of society, and to consider practical solutions to overcome all the crises by building the creative society around the globe. Be part of history with us and become part of the global solution. And we really hope to see you on May 7th. Now, dear viewers, if you have any questions, comments, or if you would like to participate in the international discussions, please don't hesitate. Write us an email at info@creativesociety.com. And thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Natalia, for being with us today. And we'll see you next time.